My dear sisters and brothers, when we have a deeper understanding, then we also come up with convictions. Now, as I was telling you, at which level are you having this deeper understanding? At the level of reason? Yes, we must be clear at that level. But then we must surrender it to the Spirit, so that the convictions at the Spirit level will lead us to the ways of the Lord in these convictions. Let me just explain that. Now, when someone tells us you must have water half an hour before you eat so that your system is nicely sort of done up, but during meal you must not drink water, and 45 minutes later you must drink water. Now that water, if it is warm, it is good. Now this is told to us, we understand it, but till we put this into practice and begin to realize why it is so, knowing what is happening to me, then only there will be a conviction. Otherwise, we may do it 1 or 2 days because someone said it is good, but you're not convinced about it. When is the conviction coming? When it comes from deep within you. And at that deeper level, you are encountering God's very presence, who is telling you what is good for you. And when God does this for us, then we cannot be shaken. Now, there are people who will live by certain values, like doing good and not expecting a thanks in return. All of us want a thanks in return. But those who are convinced that when you are doing good, God is doing it, then your conviction will lead you not to expect it, but the joy that you feel in giving, as St. Paul tells us. Then you're not expecting a thanks from anyone. The joy of giving is what is your conviction. So this is what I'm saying. Jesus has revealed to us that the Father has sent all of us into this world through Him. And He has also redeemed us through Jesus. And so the life we are living is already heaven on earth. Now, if I tell you this, I don't know whether you're convinced about it. But probably you are. Now, the more we live with this conviction, then you will see that our life is not governed by our reason, but governed by the Spirit who informs our reason to do that which is done by the Lord for the good of the other, and in that is our joy in living. Now, when we do say some things to others, sometimes we just say it from where? From superficial level. Then we feel hurt that we have hurt others. Then we want to, rub that away. And sometimes it does not get rubbed because it just remains there. You have not said sorry to them, you have not met them, and things like that. Then this keeps on growing in us. When it keeps growing, then it becomes a habit. And once it is a habit, it forms a structure. And once a structure, you cannot get out of it. This is what happens internally. And we need to be freed because Jesus has already set us free. The minute you realize that this is what is going on in me and you surrender it to Jesus, He's already set you free. But now, you're still going on in the same way. Why? Because internally you have not surrendered it. You have surrendered it at one level, but deep down you have not surrendered. For this, you need time. You need to do a certain amount of penance. Jesus has told us certain things cannot be done with just saying it. It has to be accompanied with prayer and fasting. So this is also another thing. Not because God has not set us free. It is we who are still stuck up and we are not letting go. That is the reason we need to do prayer and fasting. Otherwise, we are all set free. We are living heaven on earth. That is what God has revealed to us. What about today when we are praying for our so-called dead? They have also died and many things have just remained in them. Now, when the last minute actually, it is good to confess. We bring people, the priests, to help them make their confession, to give them the sacrament so that they can go straight without any problem into heaven. But they have not done. They have remained stubborn. And then what happens? Then they have to wait in purgatory. Now, we pray for them. And today we are praying for all our so-called dead so that our prayers for them will help them to be set free so that they can go back. They cannot do it. We can do it. And when we are on earth, we can do this for ourselves and for others. There have been saints who have done a lot of modification and prayers, not for themselves, but for others. Like Curidias, he was sent to a place which was very bad. The people were not very religious. They were all indulging in self. Now, when he went there, he began to visit the poor and the sick and the dying. They began to feel the conviction that this man has brought Jesus to them. And they began to change. And slowly, the whole village changed. But it was accompanied by his very, very deep prayer through the night and fasting and even scourging himself. That is what helped the people to come back to God. And so many of us, when we do a little sacrifice, we, instead of doing something bad, we do something good. These are small little sacrifices. You may think that no one hears. No, God is aware of it. When we say a good prayer for someone, you just say a Hail Mary, or you just say an Our Father, you just say a small prayer. This has a great effect, my dear sisters and brothers. And let us keep that in mind, that today we can pray for our so-called dead. Today you have come here for Mass, you have received communion. When you go to the grave and meet your so-called dead there, and put a flower, arrange the burial ground, there is a lot of indulgence. We are also praying for them. So do that, and we will help them to reach the eternal bliss in God. Let us pause for a while, close our eyes, and just make a small prayer for all our so-called dead, our parents, our brothers and sisters, our aunts whom we know, our friends, even our enemies.